Now that the month of May has come to an end, here are 4 things that happened in fashion that you should know about. The first Monday of May, as we know, is always the Met Gala. This year's theme was costume art, and the gala theme that followed was fashion is art. Beyonce was the co-chair of this year's Met Gala, and she came back to the carpets after a 10-year hiatus, her last Met Gala appearance being 2016 Manus Ex Machina, Fashion in an Age of Technology. She wore this crystal bedazzled skeleton-like dress made by none other than Olivier Rousteing, inspired by Visitor, a lithograph made in 1944 by Louisiana Creole artist Caroline Durieux, which ties back to Beyonce's own Creole heritage. This was the first time we saw Olivier's work since he announced his departure from Balmain last November. Highlighting some other notable looks, Gracie Abrams and Hunter Schafer both wore looks inspired by a Klimt painting, respectively wearing Chanel and Prada. And this was the first Met Gala that all 4 members of Blackpink showed up. Out of the 4, my favorite was probably Jisoo's Dior look inspired by Monet's Water Lilies made by Jonathan Anderson. I think one of the funniest things that happened at the carpet was Anna Wintour referencing her 2019 Met Gala look, and going back to the theme of this year's gala, fashion is art. I guess Anna Wintour is fashion, thus now means that she is also art. Moving on. May was also the month of cruise shows, and I don't know what happened, but it feels like all of the major fashion houses got in a room together and decided to do all of their resort shows in America. Jonathan Anderson kicked off the American cruise chain, if you will, with Dior showing their collection at LACMA in Los Angeles. And what's so fun about Anderson's Dior to me is that he uses the Maison's archives to the fullest extent. The starting point for this collection was the Dior jacket that Marlene Dietrich wore in Alfred Hitchcock's Stage Fright. This evolved into exploring the house's long-standing relationship with Hollywood, notable details being Philip Tracy's word hat, first made for Isabella Below, saddlebags and newsprint bags referencing Galliano's era. And then Demna brought us cross-country to New York for the Gucci show at Times Square. Before the show, all of the billboards, except for 2, from what I hear, lit up with a fashion film showcasing Gucci chocolate, Gucci yoga mat, Gucci pet colors, everything, which kind of reminded me of the licensing craze in the 80s and 90s. And the collection was titled Gucci Core, and it was about everything and anything that Gucci can be. The clothes to me felt like a caricature of the brand's image with a general art direction to mimic Tom Ford era Gucci. Demna gained his popularity by reframing what is tacky and stereotypical within a high fashion context. I get that that's Demna's thing. Feels like he's applying the same formula everywhere he goes, whether it's Vetements, Balenciaga, and now Gucci. And to be frank, I'm a little bored of the formula, and I think Gucci needs a fresh take that isn't a regurgitation of a previous era. And then Louis Vuitton showed their collection at the Frick Museum Uptown. Nicolas Ghesquière mirrored this uptown-downtown dichotomy through the silhouettes and material choices of the clothes. The collection started off with more structured pieces like suits and tailoring, and then slowly transitioning into these voluminous ruffles and more flowy silhouettes with an ode to Keith Haring, who is a very, very prominent downtown figure. So what we can assume from 3 major fashion houses showing its cruise collection in America is that despite the political and economical turbulence within America, luxury is betting on the US market over APAC or the European market right now. The third thing that I want to talk about is Marc Jacobs being sold to WHP Global. The brand management firm behind Rag & Bone, Vera Wang, and G-Star is acquiring Marc Jacobs. There has been rumblings of LVMH wanting to sell off Marc Jacobs for a while now, and they finally found a buyer. LVMH took majority stakes in Marc Jacobs in 1997, which was the same year that Marc was appointed creative director of Louis Vuitton. The brand hit its peak value around 2014, pulling in about $1 billion in revenue, largely driven by its diffusion line marked by Marc Jacobs, which launched in 2001. In 2015, the brand announced that they are shutting down the diffusion line, and the revenue numbers haven't been the same since. G3 Apparel, which owns and licenses brands like Calvin Klein, Sticky, and Nye, are also coming in the deal alongside WHP Global to run direct to the consumer side So it'll be interesting to see how the brand develops from this change in management. And last but not least, we need to talk about EVERLANE being sold to SHEIN. The deal was approved May 16th, valued at around $100 million, reportedly to cover a $90 million debt. The brand's co-founder wrote on LinkedIn that he didn't even know that the deal was happening. To see a brand built entirely on radical transparency and ethical sourcing be sold to the poster child of everything it stands against is a big shock. I guess this is what happens when private equity gets their hands on things. The CEO of EVERLANE, SHEIN, says that the brand will remain independent and will uphold its sustainability commitments, but I don't think anyone's buying that. That was your main fashion. I'll be back next month.